Hello everyone, welcome to another live hangout here at Voice Essentials. I hope you are healthy, happy and in good voice. A big hello to Kelly and Linda who are already in the live chat. You can see the live chat. Do I get I get it right. I get it. It's over here. You'd think after how many shows have we done now? We've been doing this for years and I still because I'm looking at the screen. The reason is the screen I'm looking at is opposite, and anyway. I hope you're doing well. Today we're doing a Q&A, and so if you've got questions, I have a few answers, and so I'll do my humble best to answer your questions. We've already got some questions, not in the live chat, but from previous shows, which we're going to get to. But of course, we'll always answer the live questions in the live chat as a priority, and we'll even then prioritize even further VIP-like, if you will, those people who put a super chat with their question, because we like to, say thank you for your contribution to the channel, and we always prioritize the super chats. So we'll be hanging out for the next 40, 50 minutes, and it will be, hopefully it'll be a lot of fun. Hopefully it'll be very educational, because that's really what we are here. This at Voice Essentials, we're an educational channel, and I wanted to talk you through, just before I do, because I want to talk to this whole educational channel thing in a second, because I've started a new video format. I'm going to talk about that in a moment. I just wanted to say, if you missed last week's show with Heidi Moss, and hello to all of you who are new to Voice Essentials. If you missed last week's special guest, I generally interview a special guest every couple of weeks. We won't have another special guest now until about July. But anyway, last week's special guest was Heidi Moss. She was just wonderfully gracious and so positive with her information. She is a highly regarded expert in the field of neuroscience and voice and the way the brain works. If you missed it, make sure you watch it after today's show. Go back and have a watch of last week's live, because it was a really great discussion and I learned heaps. So it was great to have Heidi on. It won't be the last time we have Heidi on, I promise you that. So this week we're doing a Q&A. Next week we'll do a Q&A with a mini topic. So that's going to be good to do. These mini topics are kind of like little webinars, if you will, little points of discussion. We've talked about performance, and we've talked about, there's been a whole heap of stuff with vocal care. There's a whole heap of things that we sort of do a 20, 25-minute deep dive into. And so make sure you subscribe, hit the white bell icon just so you get the notification for when we go live, which is Monday, Australian Eastern Standard Time at 1 p.m. every week. Literally, well, it's not literally every week because there are public holidays and all those sorts of things. But anyway, we will be here again next week, and I hope you'll join us for the mini topic. So let's talk to this idea that Voice Essentials, the channel here, is an educational channel. Many of you know that I have vehemently resisted doing vocal coach reaction videos, and they still don't sit overly comfortably with me, I must admit. But what has been happening in the sphere of YouTube is the channels that are doing vocal coach reaction videos are sucking up all of the viewing oxygen, and that's not a bad thing. This is not me targeting any particular channel for doing them, but as a result, there's only so many hours that a person can spend on YouTube watching these entertaining videos. And so I've just been noticing that over the last 18 months, just a slow but sure increase in carbon dioxide, shall I say, on my viewing channel, so on my viewing stats, and so I've wrestled with this for a long time. So a couple of weeks ago, I sent out a poll to the Facebook group. Hello to everyone on the Facebook group and the Voice Essentials community Facebook group. If you're not a part of it, please come and be a part of the Voice Essentials community Facebook group. It is a really positive, encouraging space. So I put a poll up there, and I also put a poll onto the YouTube community tab where I just simply asked the question, hey, if I was going to do vocal reaction videos, how would you feel about it? There was, actually to my surprise, an overwhelmingly positive response to either say, hey, I love them, I want to watch them, I want to watch you do them, Dr. Dan, or, well, they're not really my thing, but I don't have a problem with you doing them and I'd still support the idea of you doing them. And then the third response was, no, don't do those. They're the worst thing. Do you know what? If I was to fill out the poll, I probably would have filled out the third option because, as I say, they're just not something that I've been comfortable with. So, and I've outlined the reasons for that in the past. But it's got to a point where it's kind of, well, if you can't beat them, join them kind of deal, yeah? And so whilst I like to consider myself a principled person, someone who really does stand doggedly by their principles. I'll give you an example. I resisted for a very, very long time getting a Spotify account. And the reason I did was because Spotify, in my humble opinion, has not been a great thing for the recording artist industry. On some fronts, it's not all bad, but it's kind of it and you'll see a lot of commentary about this. It kind of has devalued music in one sense. And there's a range of other commentary points that we could make about it. But anyway, I resisted. I was adamant that I was going to do old school. I was going to support the artists, spend the $25 per CD, and continue to really invest into the music industry. But slowly but surely, all of the music stores that sold said CDs, and yes, CDs, we're going back a while, I understand, they just started to close up. Here in Australia, we had stores like Sanity, and there's a whole range of music stores that sold, recorded music. And to the point where now, really, there's a resurgence of LPs, long play records, and you can buy those in the shop. But, CDs and tapes, we had this real dearth of opportunity to buy them. So I got to a point where, well, principle or not, if I want to listen to music, and in fact, if I want, because this was happening while my children were in their sort of primary school years, if I want my kids to be listening to a variety of music, besides the ones I already owned on CD or tape or LP, I was going to have to actually get a Spotify account. That was kind of where I had to go. I resisted to the point where I'm not a Mac guy, but I even had an iTunes account and I was paying for the tracks and downloading them. Then iTunes came to a crocker, and anyway, long story short, I had to get a Spotify account. And we're kind of at the same point, dare I say, with Dr. Dan doing vocal reaction videos. But this is where I've kind of settled with it. What I'm not doing is vocal reaction videos. What I've started doing is what I'm referring to as vocal analysis videos. And where I'm providing, and there are other people doing this, and it's probably been the discovery of me finding a variety of different people doing some pretty good quality work in breaking down the analysis of performances. And so it probably took me a little while to sort of figure out, how do I do this for you? Maintain some academic and educational rigor, because we are not an entertainment. Well, hopefully you're entertained at times by what we do here on the channel, but it is an educational channel. It is about developing technique, developing performance, developing stagecraft. And actually, I've done 3 so far. I've done 3 vocal analysis videos. I did one. The first one was Celine Dion. These were in no particular order. I didn't choose to do Celine because she's my favorite singer. It was just, who do I do first? Who can I find who's doing a live performance that I can be relatively assured that the level of doctoring in post-production is relatively not that much. I'm not naive to think that, you know, when we see a lot of stuff that we see online, that there hasn't been some post-production work done. But I am searching for truly live performance, because I don't want to do a vocal analysis at this stage. I don't want to do a vocal analysis on a performance that may not be everything that the singer themselves is producing, that, you know, that we see that the engineer, it's more about an engineering analysis than it is about the singer. So anyway, we're sticking to live at this point. So I did Celine Dion, I did Dimash. Oh dear, what a crazy ride that was. I've got to tell you, I had no idea of the level of fandom around Dimash. I knew who Dimash was, but I got blasted by the fan group. They were, wow. I mean, it's very cool that he generates that much passion. But I provided a critique, if you will, and some people were not happy with some things that I said, and that was a lesson. And then I've also done a Chris Cornell, because one of my students, Aitor, said, "Hey Dan, can we do a Chris Cornell one?" So I thought, yeah, that's cool. Let's go and do a Chris Cornell. So we went, and I've done one of those. This morning, you can find the Celine Dion, the Dimash, and the Chris Cornell. Go and have a watch. What I'd love you to do is go and have a watch of them and give me feedback about the format. Yeah, and is it meeting a need for you in your development as a singer? What I'm really enjoying about doing them, yes, I'm still uncomfortable with doing them, but I am enjoying this aspect of it. It really gives me the opportunity to point out performance skill and stagecraft, and that is proving to be really, really good. And so I'm hoping that comes across in the videos. But it's a new format to me. This is something that will evolve over time, and I'm not going to stop doing the other formats that we've always done. They're going to continue on. But I'm hoping that we can bring in a new audience, a new demographic, so that they can also take advantage of the very same things that you come to the channel for, and that is education. And so this morning I did the Disturbed's performance of The Sound of Silence. So you can see I'm going for a real variety here. I'm not just going to, you know, do pop or adult contemporary. This is going to be a real variety of stuff that we'll do. And I also reviewed Bruno Mars. In fact, it's Silk Sonic's Bruno Mars and Anderson .Paak's live performance of their song Leave the Door Open, which is uber cool. It is so cool. I say this during the video, but I do have a bit of a soft spot for soul and R&B. And Maybe it's the white guy in me who just longs to be that cool. So that's what we're going to be doing. So in these vocal analyses, we're looking at technique, we're looking at stagecraft, we're looking at performance skills, and we're actually also just this is the other thing that I think is going to be really positive, is just the opportunity to value and enjoy music, and just really appreciate just how wonderful some of these performers are, and to really glean and learn from their expertise. So, and I'm hoping that I can do that in a really humble orientation. I bring a level of expertise as a singing voice specialist, but I do want to recognize that I don't know everything. I say that regularly on the channel. I don't know everything. I'm always going to still be learning. I try to have a growth mindset in my life, recognizing that I'm on a lifelong journey of learning, just like you are, and but nonetheless, we'll develop with this framework and this format as we go. So, yeah, that's what we're going to do. Leave your comments in the live chat. Leave your comments in the reply in the comments section below this video if you're watching it as a replay. And hello to you if you're watching this as a replay. Many of you do. I just wanted to kind of put you in the picture because I have been so adamant for so very long that I was not going to do them. And I'm not... What you're not going to do is just see me sitting next to a video and going, ooh, ah, oh, that's, look, I couldn't do that with any level of authenticity anyway. Hopefully you will see me enjoying the performances that we watch, but the main point is going to be about developing technique, education, those sorts of things. So, there you go. Because I know some of you have been wondering, what is he doing? Well, full disclosure, that's what we're doing. Okay, I have seen a cool question over here by Kelly. She's thrown in a live chat, a super chat, and so we're definitely going to answer Kelly's question. We're going to answer it right after this. Okay, so let's go and see if I can I go and find Kelly's question? What is Kelly's question? Oh, cardio. Oh, I'm going to find the question. Here we go. We're going to go there. Oops. We're going to go to that question. Let's bring that down a little bit just so it's not in the way. Okay, so Kelly has asked, hello Kelly, I miss our lessons together, Kelly. I hope one day we can pick them up again. Hi, Dr. Dan. How valuable is cardio training, bike, walking, interval training, to having breath when singing, like not running out of breath? Kelly, I think it's highly valuable. And to the point where I do cardio work, I walk, I run. The best cardio work that you can do is swimming. I'm a competent swimmer, but it's not really, you know how some sports resonate with you, some activities resonate with you and some don't? Swimming just doesn't, I can, but anyway, I think it's the process of getting changed and getting wet and then having to dry off, and too much information. So what I really want to encourage you to definitely lift your cardio. And so I walk at least twice a week with my wife, Jody. We went for a walk last night, and we'll go for a walk tonight. And our local suburbs are relatively hilly, so that gives us the opportunity to at times really feel that sort of cardio response and aerobic activity taking place. And the great thing about walking is it's very low impact. So the older you get, the better it is on your body as a whole. And that's why swimming is so good, because it is so low impact on you. But certainly running is good. I play a social game here in Australia called touch football. I play that. I'll be on the field tomorrow night. That's really high level cardio workout for me. I do that once a week. I was doing PT this morning. That's not really cardio. It's more weight-based training. So my point being is cardio is really important, because it means that if you can develop your cardio, you're going to have a less of a likelihood that your breath you'll start to get shallow in your breathing too early, and we see this at a real fully developed point when we see actually a lot of pop R&B live show, like if you think Beyonce, if you think Lizzo, and in fact, Lizzo's been in the news just recently, right? And she's come out, just saying she's had enough of the trolling on Twitter, and over her weight. We had Elizabeth Benson on the show a few weeks back talking about that aspect of the singing world, and I really encourage you to have a watch. Go looking through my live shows, look for Elizabeth Benson. It was only a few weeks back, and have a watch of that show if you haven't. And we talk about weight in singing, and they use the fat liberationist network or framework of referring to them as fat people, but reclaiming that term. And so if we were to use that term in regards to Lizzo, so Lizzo is fat, but I couldn't keep up with her in her dance, partly because I've got 2 left feet. Secondly, because I don't think my cardio, in fact, I'm pretty confident my cardio would not be up to what we observe her doing in live shows for at least over an hour in one hit. That's amazing cardio. But the impact of poor cardio and poor aerobic health is that sense of shallow breathing, which is then going to create a lot of tension, a lot of stress at the level of the voice, which is going to fatigue the voice at a higher rate. And that's where we fall into the trap of wear and tear. That's kind of the end of the chain of poor cardio. So to answer your question, Kelly, how valuable is cardio training? Highly. And dependent on your performance scenario will determine just how important it is. So if I wanted to suddenly be doing, a Lizzo or a Beyonce-esque type of show, oh dear, I'm sorry, I just had a picture flash of me in a leotard on stage. That's, no. Oh dear. That would be eye-wateringly funny. Would it be just funny, or would it be grotesque? It would probably be the latter. Oh, we're going to move on. We've got to move on because before I start having too much fun. Okay, let's get to James. Thanks for the super chat, Kelly. Warm up. Here we go. We've got a question here from James. Let's go to James's question. I have a question about warm up. Is it important to warm up your voice? Oh dear, I've got to settle myself because I've still got to. Anyway, Linda, help me. Is it important to warm up your voice after physical exercise such as dancing? Will your voice be tired? Asking because I have a musical audition this week. Is it important to warm up your voice after physical exercise such as dancing? Look, I think it's probably valuable for you to warm up your voice like you are going to limber up for a dance audition. You want your sort of vocal, your toning physically, holistically, to be ready to go in the audition together. I understand that with music theatre, often the audition of the dance often will be first, and they'll cull the dancing, using the dance to cull, and then they'll move into the voice. And so they're often done, for example, they can be done the dance in the morning and the vocal in the afternoon. If that were the case, then you would definitely want to be warming your voice in the afternoon in preparation for the singing. So it's really just going to come down to where are they sitting in correlation to each other. But equally, I would want to go to the audition vocally warm and ready, because the thing about auditions is you kind of never know what's going to be asked of you in the moment. This is why, for example, we always go to a music theatre audition with multiple songs above and beyond what has been asked of you, because music directors, dramatic directors have a propensity to just throw you curveballs and ask you, do you have anything else? We like the sound of that, but do you have anything else? Show us the variety of what you can do. And so you always want to be ready. You've got to be on and ready to respond, and be very quick to adjust to any requests that's sent your way. Let's go to Joel's question. Joel is, this could be an interesting question. What is this question? Joel is asking, does drinking liquefied chicken and eating 3 whole onions help your voice get better? Joel, congratulations. I have never been asked that question before. Firstly, liquefied chicken? That's not a thing in Australia, to my knowledge, certainly not amongst Anglo-Saxon Aussies. Perhaps amongst other people groups it is. That's something new to me. I'm looking to see if Linda, have you ever heard of it? Liquefied chicken? Wow. Okay, so I guess you're nutribulleting that, are you? Like, and 3 whole onions? Well, it won't be great for your breath, I wouldn't have thought. I don't think so, Joel, just off the top of my head. That, to me, sounds like a recipe for reflux, I must say. Certainly, I think I know how my digastric system would respond to that. So, no, I don't know that would be beneficial. I dare say you've heard someone suggest that. There are a lot of unsubstantiated wives' tales that get propagated online. Sometimes it's very hard to identify, well, where did that come from? Sometimes they can be, formulated by someone who is just having a bit of a pull your leg moment. At other times, they have come down through the ages and seem to have been passed on from singer to singer. But that also can, we've got to be careful in the area of voice, because there's so much unsubstantiated, myths around voice that just have not been verified due to, through good, rigorous academic research. And it is true. Like I, for example, let me give you a personalized example. My first year out of high school, I toured with a band, living out of a suitcase for 10 months, touring around in a bus, and it was a lot of fun. Glad I did it when I was 18. Wouldn't want to do it now. but it was a cool thing to do as a young person. And I came across this myth that drinking pineapple juice would be beneficial to my singing. I cannot tell you how much I drank so much pineapple juice that year. I kept the local pineapple juice manufacturer. I kept their doors open that entire year just by myself. That's how much I drank. I was just going off what someone else had told me, and we now know through research that the effective enzyme within pineapple juice that is beneficial to singers, I've got to contextualize. It is beneficial to singers. The beneficial enzyme is called bromelain, and bromelain is effective as a natural anti-inflammatory. But here's the kicker. Firstly, to get the level of bromelain out of pineapple juice that you would need to have benefit to the voice, there's two things. You would need to drink liters of freshly squeezed pineapple juice. Firstly, it's got to be freshly squeezed. It's got to be liters. And number two, it would have to be 2 hours either side of eating, because if the bromelain is digested, the effect of the bromelain, the last time I looked at this research, which was a number of years ago, the effect of the anti-inflammatory is actually going to have an impact on your digestive system, not your vocal tract system. And so, on one hand, the pineapple juice is able to have an effect, but not really. Yeah, not really, because the scenario in which I'm doing it is not really on point. But can I tell you, anecdotally, my experience was that it was helping. Now, I look back on that period of time and I go, there was a placebo effect at play here. My brain was convinced that the pineapple juice was actually benefiting me. And so I don't, in one sense, regret having drunk the pineapple juice. Over the years, remember poppers? Here in Australia, we have little containers and you drink from a little straw. I regularly went to the shops because we gigged a lot. That year we did like nearly 400 shows in 10 months. It was like we gigged and gigged and gigged and gigged. And so you can imagine I would have had at least one of those poppers per show. So 250, do some sums for me. I think we did exactly 380. Let's say we did 380 shows. Make it 400 because there was rehearsals and stuff. If I did 400 shows at 250 milliliters per, because one of those have got 200. Someone put in the chat, how many liters is that? 400 times 250. I can't do the quick math. Let me know. So back to your question, Joel, about liquefied chicken and whole onions. I doubt it. The number one thing you should be drinking and consuming you've got to get your systemic hydration up. And so concentrate on getting your 2 to 3 liters of water per day. And then I'm all for moderate diets, healthy, moderate diets that are not, overly driven to any specific area, but that they're healthy, that they are appropriate to your system. Some people struggle with dairy, some people don't. So be mindful of what your body does, and then identify that and be healthy. I'm keeping an eye out for the 250 times 400. Have we got it? Liters. It's liters, everyone. 100 liters. Oh, wow. Well, at least because I think it had vitamin C. That's good. It would have at least reinforced my health, which, you know, we did a lot of work that year. So, okay. I can see Turquoise Skies made a comment here, just stopping in to say hi. Hey, good to see you in the show again. And Julie is a newish subscriber. Hello, Julie. It's good to have you jumping in and saying hello in the show. Let's come across to Keith's question. Keith is asking this question. Got a question. Why does my voice get hoarse when singing for a while, and how do I prevent this from happening? Keith, there could actually be a number of different reasons for that. And I'm not going to answer your question directly because I can't. The only way for me to do that would be first to be able to hear you, to see you, to make an assessment on what do I see, and then to go the level of diagnosis, you would have to go to a laryngologist or an ears, nose, and throat doctor. I'm doing these new vocal analyses videos, and I am taking the opportunity to watch some other reviews of the same shows because like I said, I'm learning things as we do this. And one of the analyses of the Bruno Mars performance, the reviewer made a very direct comment suggesting that the person, that Anderson .Paak, had nodules, or he suspected he had nodules. I humbly suggest to you, you cannot do that. No singing teacher can diagnose any vocal pathology at all. That is not possible. The reason it's not possible, firstly, is because I can't see the vocal folds. When I hear a sound, the challenge of vocal pathologies, so whether it be a functional issue or an organic issue, the problem is that these things can present audibly in a very similar way. And so a nodule can present very similarly to a polyp, which can also almost sound like a vocal fold, a fluid retention cyst. So no singing teacher, if you find someone online who is brazen enough to say such and such, unless everyone knows that singer has had a history of and is currently experiencing XYZ, and I think that's unlikely that you're going to be reviewing that. No one can tell you that. The only person that can tell you that is a laryngologist, and to my knowledge, there ain't many of those on YouTube doing vocal analysis videos. So please be mindful of that. So Keith, what I would want to find out is I would want to observe your underlying technique. I would want to observe the type of genre that you are singing. I would want to know your age. I would want to know the sorts of environments in which you are singing. There are so many factors that go towards a voice becoming hoarse, and even the term hoarse can mean different things to different people. For some people, it just means fatigue. For other people, it actually is a descriptive term that they're using to describe what is happening to their sound. And so the things I'd be encouraging you to do, the things that I can encourage you to do, Keith, and you may already be doing these, so I don't want to suggest that you're not, but you want to be firstly addressing your hydration, as I just said. Hydration, I know we go on about it because it's it is so important to maintain high levels of systemic hydration to ensure the lubrication of the voice is such that we're reducing friction and the impact of the abrasive forces of the vocal folds colliding. And in doing so, we reduce heat. When we've got good hydration, we're reducing heat, we're mitigating heat, and caused by the friction, which then can lead to inflammatory response. The heat, the friction, can lead to an inflammatory response to the vocal folds because they want to protect themselves, and that's where things can go awry and lead to hoarseness. So you want to be hydrating, you want to be vocal, you want to be warming up. Please, in my professional yet humble opinion, preparing the voice with a consistent warm-up is crucial to long-term vocal health. Can you get away with not doing a vocal warm-up for one particular performance? Yeah. What you'll never know is how much better could have it been if you had have done the warm-up. So there's no comparative analysis going on in the moment, but warming up, preparing your voice for use is so important. I cannot stress just how important that is. And so make sure you are doing a good vocal warm-up. A good vocal cool down is also an absolute necessity. And I've got vocal warm-up videos and vocal cool down videos that you can use free on the channel. So make sure you're doing that. Invest into the development of your technique, ensuring that your technical development is stylistically appropriate. Do not learn classical technique if you want to do contemporary genres. Don't do that. Make sure you are, because there are so many differences. There are tonal differences. We're not just talking repertoire. There are tonal differences. There are breath management differences. There are tension management differences. The variety of differences, the plethora of differences is such that you want to be developing stylistic technique. And if you're interested, the Voice Essentials pathway, if you will, of developing technique, you can do this online through the online courses that I have. If you go to voiceessentials.com.au, am I going to get it right? Oh, I did, just there. If you use that QR code, it'll take you to my online courses. And this will, none of this, I just want to address, and then we're actually going to have to finish up. I want to address very quickly the word prevent, because that's actually a really important word in the discussion of vocal health. There is, I was watching some sport on the weekend, and a very high-profile player in rugby league. It's a very big game here in Australia. For those of you watching internationally, you wouldn't know what it is, but it's a game that I follow. And one of the most high-profile players actually did a hammy on the weekend. And so he's got well, they were doing scans on it today, but there is serious concern around his hamstring, that he's torn his hamstring. Big problem, because he's got a big game coming up and he's not going to be right to do it. There is no question around his technique. Nathan Cleary is his name. He plays for the Penrith Panthers. There is no question around his technique. He is an exceptional footballer. And yet, for whatever reason, almost certainly due to the amount of load and dose his body has endured the last week with his playing schedule, his body has succumbed to the point where there's some wear and, dare I say, tear. The scans haven't come in yet, so I don't want to be saying something that it isn't. But the point I'm making is, no matter how good your technique is, no matter, how educated you are around voice, there are going to be times when a voice falls into disrepair and it couldn't be avoided. Why? Because we are biological instruments. We are not bulletproof. You know, perhaps in my early 20s as a young male, I thought I was, but I am not, and neither are you. Your body is susceptible to wear and tear, and sometimes you don't even have to, you know, do the wrong thing and have something go awry. So a lot of this is about prevention. It's about creating a context in which we are mitigating the risk. But you know what? The wonderful thing about contemporary vocals is it is risky. It's educated risk. It can be educated risk, but so's jumping out of a plane with a parachute. That's an educated risk, but it can go wrong. No one wants it to go wrong, but it can. And so just remember that everything that we do here is about mitigating risk. But if something does happen, then it's not your fault that it happened. It's just now we've got to go through the process of looking to remediate the voice, bring it back to health, and get it back on that sort of healthy track. So, Keith, I certainly hope that has been helpful to you. What a great hangout. I enjoyed today's questions. Thank you for asking your questions. Thank you again to Kelly for the super chat, and thanks to everyone for your. I'm just jumping over to have another look back in the live hangouts. Around 25 gallons is how many. 25 gallons of pineapple juice. Golden Circle pineapple juice. I drank a lot that year. And you would think after drinking that much pineapple juice that I would really, you know, my stomach would turn at the... No, I actually quite enjoy pineapple juice to this day. So there you go. But not for the same reasons as I thought I was enjoying it. Let's put it that way. More for taste than for medicinal purposes. I hope you've enjoyed today's live hangout. Again, I want to really put out the humble request that when you watch my the new vocal analysis videos, hey, let me know. Is it proving helpful? Are you learning something? We are an educational channel. Hopefully, you know, we're having fun while we're doing it. Once again, I'm picturing myself in a leotard. Middle-aged man in a leotard. Not good. Yeah, hopefully we're having some fun while we do it, but nonetheless, we are here to educate. We're here to learn. I'm here to learn, just like you are, and I'm learning stuff as I'm doing these vocal analyses, and I'm hoping that comes across in those videos. So check them out, let me know, and hopefully we can continue that journey together, as we will every Monday live. 1 p.m. Australian Eastern Standard Time. Hey, let me know if you enjoyed today's show. Hit the thumbs up button. Thanks for watching all the way to the end. I do hope you have a great week. I'll see you next week for another Q&A and a mini topic. We'll do a mini topic next week, all things being equal. I hope to see you again soon. I'm Dr. Dan. Sing well.